Hello, everyone, and thank y'all for coming to our 2022-2023 kindergarten orientation. So I'm Dr. Aradhana Mudambi, the Director of the Department of Multilingual Education. All right, so the Department of Multilingual Education is composed of many people, including our office team, our translation department, our language program assistants, our language program testing coordinators, our teachers who service our emergent bilingual students and our world language students. And in addition, the three of us who are the leaders of the Department of Multilingual Education. As I said, I'm Dr. Aradhana Mudambi, the director of the program. There we have Darlene Pugnali, who's our assistant director, and Evangelia De Montopoulos, who's our multilingual curriculum coordinator. So these are our guiding principles of the Department of Multilingual Education. The first one is that language is a resource. It's not something extra. It's not something that's unneeded. It is a resource. It is something the students need to be able to communicate with others in society. The second one is that learning in students' first language affirms their cultural and linguistic identities. And we believe very strongly that we must affirm everyone's backgrounds, including any regional differences in languages. Third, we believe that building students' first language skills allows them to keep contact with relatives and maintain connections with their home cultures. And this is incredibly important. We want all of our students to be able to maintain, and in addition, to be able to build the proficiency in their home languages. Fourth is that effective programs are based on scholarly research. So we look at what professors at other universities are doing, what they're learning, what they're sharing with us, and we build our programs and adjust our programs accordingly. And finally, equity and social justice are always the guiding forces for closing the academic opportunity gap for emergent bilinguals. These are the three pillars of our department and of multilingual education in general. The first one is grade level academic achievement in both languages. Our ideal is that students not just be able to speak casually in both languages, but be able to do science, to do social studies, reading and language arts, mathematics in both languages. We want students to be at the very least bilingual, which means being able to speak and listen in at least two languages. And we want them at the very least to be biliterate, which means that they can also read and write in both languages. And finally, the third pillar of multilingual education is sociocultural competence. What this means is that students get to know themselves. They know that they understand their identity and they're proud of who they are, but they also understand that there are others who don't share in the same identity or who may share only parts of the same their identity. And that they respect it. We want students to be able to respect this. We want students to be able to honor this. And in addition, we want students to be able to work across the table with people who have identities that are different than their own. And finally, all of this is always on a base of equity and social justice. So what are the programs that we have in the multilingual department? The first one is SEI, Sheltered English Immersion. So what is Sheltered English Immersion? It's basically a class where students are mixed with students who speak English at home and students who speak a language other than English at home and have been identified as emergent bilinguals. So teachers use language acquisition strategies while teaching both groups of students in a mixed classroom so that both groups of students can improve their linguistic proficiency in English. Students who speak a language other than English at home are always encouraged to build their home language skills at home. Okay. We also have two-way dual language programs. And these programs are classes where there are an equal percentage of students who are proficient in the language other than English, who are balanced bilinguals, and who are proficient in English. And the objective of these classes is for students to become proficient in both instructional languages. This means that whether it's our Spanish two-way dual language program in which students are instructed in both Spanish and English, or whether they are in the Portuguese two-way dual language program, in which students are instructed in both Portuguese and in English, the students are learning both languages in their classes. One-way dual language education programs are programs where students are identified, all students in the class are identified as emerging bilinguals. This means that students continue to build proficiency in their home language while adding English to their linguistic repertoire. And again, just like in a two-way dual language program, the objective is for students to become bilingual and biliterate in both languages. We also have transitional bilingual programs. This is where students are initially taught in their home language with the objective to transition to English. While the objective of the course itself, the program, is English proficiency, we encourage students to develop their home language at home, to continue developing their home language at home. And finally, we have world language programs. These are special area classes that are offered to all students, regardless of what language is spoken at home, to give students the opportunity to continue building proficiency in a language other than English. So this is another way to look at our language development programs. So what we can do is think of language development as one unit that our department represents. But we can divide it into two different sections. One is English language development, and the other one is world language development. So within English language development, or ELD, we have SEI courses, sheltered English immersion, and bilingual courses. For SEI programs, these are the programs where there's a mix of students, those students who are learning English at home, and those students who are learning English at school. And so the kids who are learning English at school will receive additional English as a second language instruction. Then we have the bilingual programs. We have the transitional bilingual programs, and we have the dual language programs. In the dual language programs, as our instruction is in two languages, whether that be Spanish or Portuguese, and English, it also falls under world language. So it's kind of our bridge between English language development and world language. So in our dual language programs, as I said, we teach Spanish and we teach Portuguese in addition to teaching English. We also have world language programs in French, American Sign Language, Latin, and Mandarin. So these are the programs we have at the different elementary schools. So as you can tell, we have sheltered English immersion at all of our schools. We have dual language at Barbary, Brophy, Harmony Grove, and Potter Road. Barbary and Brophy have Spanish English programs, and Harmony Grove and Potter Road have Portuguese English programs. We also have transitional bilingual programs at the 5th grade at Brophy and at Harmony Grove. And then we have Portuguese as a world language at Harmony Grove. So why do we offer various programs at Framingham Public Schools? Well, this is what's known as the famous graph, and this is research done by Collier and Thomas back. They started in 2009, but they have continued doing this and coming up with the same results. So this dashed line right here, by the number 50, represents the average score of kids on English language arts exams, kids who speak English at home. So they're monolingual English speakers. Okay, so some kids do better, some kids don't do as well. But this is the average score. These colorful lines down here, they represent different programs for kids who are learning English at school. So they have a language other than English at home. And the space between the two represents the opportunity gap. This is what we as a school district want to close. Okay, so these are kids who start off and they're all starting off at the same level. And if you go up to 3rd grade, what we see is they're around the 35th percentile, all of them. And it looks like it doesn't matter what program we offer. But then if you go to around 4th grade, what we start to see is the kids in these programs right here, these top 2 green programs, are actually doing better than other students who are also learning English at school and who are in these programs. So what that means is that we're closing the opportunity gap at a faster rate for students who are in these two programs. Okay. Now, as we keep going, when we come to around 6th grade, what we see is that we have managed to close the opportunity gap for students who are in this top green program. Okay. So we've managed to close the opportunity gap. So now, again, this is an average score. So you're going to have kids who are doing even better, kids who are not doing as well. But for the most part, on average, kids who come in learning English as a second language, who are in this top program, are on average achieving the same score as their monolingual English counterparts. And by 7th grade, we've managed to close the opportunity gap for students in both the green programs. Okay. But if you come down here to these other programs, what we see is we haven't closed the opportunity gap. And in fact, if you look at this red line, that gap is increasing again. This doesn't mean that kids in this program are losing English. What it means is that they're not gaining English language arts skills at the same speed as those kids who speak English at home, okay, and speak only English at home. So now as we keep going and we look towards graduation, what we see is that kids in these two programs right here, they are actually doing better. They came in not speaking any English, but they're actually achieving higher scores. They're getting better grades than kids who only speak English at home, who are monolingual English speakers. Okay. And the kids down here, we never managed to close the achievement gap for them. The opportunity gap for them. So what are these programs? So this top program right here is a two-way dual language program. This bottom line, the bottom green line, is a one-way dual language program. So what we see is that in dual language programs, on average, we're able to close the opportunity gap. And not only that, kids who are in these programs achieve higher than the kids who are monolingual English speakers. Now, if you come down here, this is a transitional bilingual program in which ESL is taught, English as a second language is taught in class, okay? This black line right here represents a transitional bilingual program where students are taken out of the classroom to get their ESL instruction, their English as a second language instruction. This brown line right here represents the SEI classroom in which the ESL teacher comes in and students are getting their ESL during their regular class time, okay, in their class. And this red line right here represents SEI programs where the ESL teacher is taking the kids out of the classroom to give them ESL instruction. All right. In addition to our programs, we also provide interpretation services for all families who requested. And in fact, families who speak a language other than English at home have the legal right to an interpreter. So if you need an interpreter to communicate with your child's school or your child's teacher at any time, please contact Bernardo Llorente, who's the manager of translations. This is his number down here. Okay, so anytime you need somebody to help translate, please contact him. And we're more than happy to provide you that service. Okay, we also have a language assessment office and screening process. So through our kindergarten registration process, you'll see a home language survey. And if you mention that there is a language other than English spoken at home, we then provide language testing for your child to determine at what proficiency level your child is in English. And then using that information, we will have a discussion with you for program assignment, okay? And that'll be based on parent choice and on lottery. All right. If students are English proficient, they are welcome to apply for seats at our two-way language programs at Brophy, Potter Road, and Barberry, okay? And based on scholarly research, 1/3 of our seats are reserved for students who are English proficient. Then 1/3 of our seats are for students who are balanced bilinguals. That means that they speak English their proficiency in English and in the language other than English, whether that be Spanish or Portuguese, is equal. And then 1/3 of our seats are reserved for students who are proficient in Spanish or in Portuguese. Okay, and these seats are assigned based on lottery. There is an opt-out process for emergent bilinguals. So families may choose to opt out of services for their emergent bilinguals. If you choose to opt your child out of those services, by federal and state law, we must still give them the access test, which is the test that we give all students who are developing proficiency in English to determine how their growth is and if they are still in need of those services. Okay. If you choose to opt your child out in future years, as long as your student is still qualifying as an emergent bilingual, you may choose to opt them back in. Okay. One thing that is really important for us all to understand is that colleges and employers are never, ever informed if students are designated as English learners at any point during their schooling. So this is not something that anybody needs to know afterwards. Okay, multilingual connection resources. If you have any questions, please contact these numbers. These individuals can always help you with any questions you have about our programs, about any kind of remote learning, if that takes place again, technology, school lunch, any questions like those. And if you would like to contact one of us in the office, here's our number. Please feel free to contact us at any time if you have any questions, if you need more resources, or if you would just like to provide us some feedback. We always love to hear from y'all. All right, so thank you very much.